what do we see agents not doing that's costing them the most money? We get asked that question all the time. And then right now, we need to really be standing out with our listings. So, what should you be posting to social media when you do have a new listing?
How much money do you need to rent versus buy a starter home in Georgia? And what's going on with TCPA stuff we keep on hearing about?
Yeah.
Join us as we dive into the latest news. This is a real estate backstory. My name is Ming Richardson. I'm the compliance broker for Maximum One Team.
I'm Alan Richardson, her partner, and we do this every week where we kind of go through the comings and goings of things happening in the real estate market. So we want to kind of jump right into a question that we kind of get asked a good bit. And we were both together. We got hit by this last week, and they said, look, what do you see as like some of the biggest mistakes agents are making, or what are some things that folks aren't doing that it's really kind of hurting them long term in their business? And so we just want to go through, we have a fairly short list of things that we see agents not doing that probably hurts their business the most. And so first and foremost, hands down, prospecting, picking up the phones, calling people that you know, reaching out and engaging with folks inside your database. It's not about, prospecting is not cold calling, right? It's about just getting out and putting yourself out there and prospecting for new business.
Well, prospecting is about relationships. So when you don't have a relationship, most people know about 4 or 5 agents other than yourself. So what's going to make them choose those 4 or 5 over you is about the relationship you maintain.
Okay. One of the areas where we see folks really kind of fall off is on networking, getting yourself out there. Well, one thing is being intentional with the prospecting, but then you have to put yourself out there and really work inside your networks. Real estate's about relationships.
Yeah,
so
and I know it sounds dumb, but when I deal with an agent that I have a relationship with, the conversation is a lot easier.
Yeah.
And there's no hidden agenda, and it's pretty much straightforward what we need to do to get this deal done for the buyer and seller. So networking is important because if people don't know you, they may not give you information that typically would.
Yeah. Next on our list is social media. Now, we don't believe that you have to do social media to be successful in real estate, but like we see so many folks who are like, well, I'm just not going to do it. I'm not going to bother to engage. You're missing out on a really big opportunity out there to, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. There's just so many opportunities when it comes to all the different social platforms. And then our next one, which really ties very much to it,
like what we're doing right now.
Video, right? There's so many folks who say, I don't like how I look. I don't like how I sound. And you know what? I get it.
I don't like how
Ming and I
sound.
do the exact same thing. And no one's like, gosh, Alan, you could be a supermodel ever. Okay. Right. And the whole idea here is people really do value real so much more important than perfect. It's not about perfect. I'm never going to be perfect. I'm going to botch up while we're talking today, and we're just going to let that thing roll. So like you have to get over yourself and be willing to put yourself out there. Whether you're going as an educator, whether you're just trying to be funny, interesting, provide facts. There's so much you could do with video. Last thing that we really want to kind of stress that we see with the folks who are, some of our top producers is that
ABC.
They've got that ABC motto: always be closing. Right? They don't miss opportunities. They don't take. And I'm not saying they don't take time off, but they're always on the hunt, looking for opportunities to engage with folks, to work with people, to take folks that really, just because they were willing to step into an opportunity. I watched one of our great agents, Letty, in our office. We had a UPS driver that's been coming in for years, and finally the UPS driver walks in one day, and Letty's standing right there, and she goes, hey, I've seen you in here all the time. Do you own a house? You want to buy a house? And next thing you know, boom, he's her client and she's selling him a house. So that idea of always kind of being on the job and looking out for opportunities, that's a huge, huge deal out there.
Well, sometimes it's a little bit of a conversation that sparks the interest. So it doesn't have to be a lone one. And, and granted, it wasn't just like, oh, you want to buy a house. It was the fact that she's seen him at the office
Right,
multiple times.
right.
They know each other, they talk occasionally, but it was never a direct question. So, one thing that I always have found out is that if you don't ask, you definitely will not get it.
Right, right. Now, existing home sales actually rose to its highest level in almost 2 years. Now, a lot of that fed off where the interest rates dropped later in the year. But the interesting thing that we're seeing is even though we're seeing sales are trending up, we're also seeing where property values are also
Trending up.
they're trending up, but they're not ridiculous, right?
They're not in double digit. They're
Yeah,
single digits.
but like for the first time in several years, we had all 50 of the major metros in the United States all saw a year over year price increase in here. And so we're seeing a lot of things going on out there. We're seeing more listings come to market. We're seeing where agents are, like because we're seeing a lot more inventory coming in right now. We are seeing where the competition level is a lot better. And for agents who, a couple of years ago may have been like, put a sign in the yard, put a lockbox on the door, put it in the MLS, sit back, you know, grab a Coca-Cola, have a little prayer, and then you're just kind of done. Like those days are really past us here. You've really got to make sure that you're marketing your listings. And one thing that we really, we just talked about social, we just talked about video. So we wanted to go over a list of things that, like, what should you post when you get a listing? And so like having a listing is a great opportunity to be able to engage with both buyers and sellers. We see a lot of folks miss on this opportunity as well. Now,
When you what to post on social media, get a listing, is that before you actually post it,
yeah, before you go live, yeah,
before you even go live, have a little teaser, a little short video. Say, hey, I got this fabulous 4 bedroom, three baths, 3.5 bath home coming in a very exclusive neighborhood, and this is one of the most desirable home in Fayette County. So stuff like that you can do, and just get a teaser.
So coming soons are great. The who do you know would be great for this house. Now in here you show like some shots of the house, but you don't show them the address because that property isn't listed. You're just putting it out there like who do you know that would love this home here? It's coming soon. And all you do is throw that out there because what you find is a lot of people reach back out and be like, me, I'd love that house kind of thing.
Right.
And then, another great thing to post out on social media is the neighborhood details. Hey, I've got a great listing coming up in this neighborhood. Show some like B-roll footage of the neighborhood, that kind of stuff. But again, it's like you're here to try and promote the listing, but also you want to get some more clients out of it. When you can go behind the scenes and kind of showcase all the work that we do, because so many people don't see the work that we do.
Now, for them, we make it very easy for a client just see the surface, but they don't see the back end, what we do, and how many hours it take us to get to those data points. If not, get that video just perfect. Get that whatever you're doing just right.
We love to take pictures of the photographer. I know it sounds crazy, but like when you take a picture of the photographer, it shows that you're there with the photographer doing the work. Hey, we're getting ready to list this home. Brad's getting our photos ready. We're going to be going live here soon.
And honestly, he and I spent about 2 hours this past Friday, and it was a great listing, and he was so accommodating. And a little shout out to Brad Zimmerman.
Yeah. So share your floor plan. Don't share the property. Like the property's not listed yet, but share the floor plan. Look at this amazing floor plan. This is perfect for yada yada yada, that kind of stuff. And then who do you know that's looking for a home with these type of features? It's another great thing to post out there. Mm-hmm. Again, no address, just throw that out there.
If you know it's a hot high school district
or a hot property, yeah,
absolutely post it, because sometimes a lot of the families are looking for a good school district in certain counties.
Yeah. So, one other thing you can do is you can invite folks to a private launch event. Hey, for all my Facebook followers, for all my Instagram people, you can view this on here.
Yep.
And then invite people to your open house. That's another great thing to do. Now, once you actually get the property listed, once it's listed, and you hold that open house, go live from the open house, right? Go live, share videos, the whole 9 yards while you're just there. Also, share just listed. Now's the time to share just listed and put those out there, because now you can actually show people property.
Mm-hmm.
All those earlier videos we were talking about, you can't actually show them the property. It was just to build interest. Now we can actually get them in to see the property, that kind of stuff. So now's the time when kind of a lot of the normal video would go out, like property tours, listing videos are definitely a good thing to put out now. I love putting out polls, and I know it sounds weird to say a
Sounds
poll,
weird, but
but the whole idea here is that like, hey, this house has these great features. What's your favorite, right? Because which of these features is the best feature of this home? We're trying to decide which one that we want to highlight the most. What do you think? That one works really good. And then we love when a house can tell a story. Anytime our properties tell a story, those are great things to be able to share out there. See, the whole idea here is that we want to help agents get past that basic two, three, four things that they do when they list a property. It's going to make a big difference, not only for you, but for your clients as well.
not only that, it builds your reputation and they know what to expect, and you might be getting a lot of followers because they know that if they're ever looking for a home, that you'll do an excellent job in showcasing it.
Now, while we're talking about all the, with listings and what's going on with listings here, one data point that we really need to highlight here is that, we're having more properties fall through during due diligence, like last month than
In
gosh,
December.
I mean, almost in years and years and years that we've had. So we saw a lot of properties falling out, and that's one thing where, you know when you have those properties that things are coming and going, the deals trying to stay together. One I guess, I really want Ming to speak about this probably more than me at this point, is when is it time to start talking about concessions, right? Because concessions are so important, but it doesn't mean that you're there to give the farm away. We're not trying to cost our sellers any kind of money, that kind of stuff. But knowing how and when to use concessions is so important. Now, we were seeing a lot of concessions used in previous years, up to somewhere around 30 something percent. Now last year it dropped down to only 24%. But with what we see happening is we're seeing more and more listings come on the market, and
Mm-hmm.
even though we're seeing good interest levels, we know that when there's more inventory on there, there's going to be more opportunities for
Yeah.
properties to fall out, and so we have to be ready to employ concessions and talk about those concessions. But a lot of times when you use the word concession, like what does a concession really mean, right? And so, some real examples of concessions that we use, that we see used, and that we want to talk to you about here.
Or
Um,
some of those are home repairs. Like, while the buyer, like I mentioned earlier in our series, that some buyers do not have the down payment or
Enough,
barely
yeah.
scrape by for the down payment and barely scrape by closing costs. And sometimes they need a lot of assistance from the seller in order to make their file work. So that's what we're talking about concession. Concession can be applied toward closing costs,
Hmm.
minor repairs, even though
Yeah,
everybody knows that it's not a major detrimental, but
yeah.
it would make the house much nicer just have that minor repair. Sometimes concession can be a real estate compensation. Okay, that's roll into it. Buying
Oh, we
down.
see that in new construction, especially like a lot of our new construction
Oh, they're
neighborhoods.
advertised $25,000 concession to the buyer, but what they don't mention was that part of that concession is compensation toward the buyer's agent.
Yeah,
So understand, it is necessary for you to be represented in a new construction, especially
yeah.
because there's a lot of items in the new construction that can be a pitfall for buyers. While you can Google online and say, what do I need to watch out for? The problem is different subdivision behaves differently. Okay. So your agent should be your best friend in guiding you in this process because this is an investment of a
Um,
lifetime.
well, and then you as the agent, right? Like we have to be the one that's out there kind of driving this boat, keeping everyone, you know, the concessions we can use to try and keep deals alive, I guess is what I'm really saying.
Absolutely. And sometimes can you buy down buyer's rate? So instead of being charged at 7% interest rate, now we got an interest rate around 6. That's a huge difference in monthly payment and debt to income ratio.
Well, and what we're really seeing is smart sellers are doing
Mhm.
what the builders are doing. And that is, rather than taking a costly price reduction, they're taking that money that they would have put into into a price reduction, and they're offering to buy down the rates.
Mhm.
And one that helps the sale price stay a little bit higher. But you'd be amazed how much a big difference that buying down the rate, whether it's a 3-2-1, a 2-1, or just a complete rate buy down, I mean, it could save them tens, twenties, $50,000 kind of thing over the course of the loan, and save them hundreds of dollars a month by doing that. So be willing to look at that before necessarily doing a price reduction. Now, sometimes, concessions are price reductions, right?
Right. Well, sometimes, depending on the loan type, once again, the situation of the buyer, not every, even though, let's say I'm doing FHA loan, not every FHA loan acts the same just because a buyer has different needs, wants, and desire and capability. So therefore, you really need to talk to the lender and listen to the buyer and understand what their needs are.
Yeah. The smart folks are doing them, right? And so we're seeing where that's going to be a skill for the talented listing agent now at this point.
Well, and the buyer's agent as well.
Yeah.
So, well, another subject.
I mean, we've been jumping in sellers. Let's talk about buyers.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, young adults currently with parents went back up last year.
So we're seeing more and more young people. When I say young adults, these are people that are first-time home buyer age right now. First-time home buyer age is 33 to 36, in that range. And right now, more and more people are, that number went down for the last couple of years, but then this year it went back, it jumped up. Now, here in Georgia,
20.6%.
Yeah, almost 21%.
Mm-hmm.
Of young adults are still living with
their parents,
mom and dad, right? And so,
some of them are being very smart.
We get that,
because
right?
They're trying to save some money.
We have kids that are almost that age, yeah.
But some of them are actually learning to save and understand what it means in order to get what they want. So I think that's smart. And our millennial and our Gen Zs are working their way and buying homes. So you just got to talk to them and see where they are, help and guide them on what courses they need to go in order to buy their first time home.
Well, and what their parents know and what we know is that wealth comes from home ownership.
Correct.
All we're saying is there's a great opportunity here to be targeting after when 20% of the folks targeting. I mean, not with a gun, but prospecting. But I mean, like 20% of our first time buyers are living at home. That's just a good place to be looking at. Now, we did see interest rates come down last week, albeit not to the point to where we're really I'd say happy about it, but we are seeing interest rates move in the right direction.
If it's
thankfully.
Going down, thank you.
And the forecast is still looking for interest rates to kind of taper off a little bit more. I don't think that we're going to, last year everyone was looking at the rates dropping much more rapidly. Now everybody's kind of like, we don't really know what's going to go on kind of thing. And so the market's still very much, but we are seeing it soften. And that's really, really good thing. Now, there's two numbers that were released this past week that we found very, very interesting, especially when you start talking about buyers, what's going on. And so there's a new report talking about the average or the renter. How much does a renter need to earn to afford a typical apartment? And right now, for a renter in the average, in just an average apartment in the United States,
this can be a combined income too. $63,680. That's quite a bit.
So almost $64,000 is the median income needed in order to rent an apartment. And I know that we have a lot of affordability issues, and we have a lot of folks talking about what's really going on. At the same time, so first I saw that number and I thought, man,
That's a lot.
that's a
That's
lot
a
higher than I
lot.
really thought it was. And again, that's the median. And so I went out and I looked at and I went and said, okay, if you took the average starter home in every
Different
state,
states.
and you said, okay, at a 7% mortgage rate, and you just took just the starter homes, how much do you need to earn? And so we went through and we looked at all the different states, but we went and of course we looked at Georgia. And in Georgia, you need to make $71,697. Now I know that there is a difference between 64 and 71. I get that. But it's not that drastic of a number when you look at the average renter has to earn almost $65,000.
Yep.
The average first time buyer has to own 72,000, has to earn almost $72,000. That to me is getting in the range of being very, very reasonable. If you look at the numbers, it's still cheaper to rent than own right now, but you're never going to get that wealth
Well, it's
without it.
100% interest if you look at it. Any money that you put down, you'll never recuperate.
Right. We need to be talking about this to our buyers out there, because and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that $72,000 is all you need to buy a home. I'm saying that's for the average starter home, small home, that kind of stuff. We generally feel that you almost need $100,000 family income to buy most of our average homes here in Georgia, kind of thing. But just that's we're just seeing where a lot of renters right now are giving up and just they're like, well, we're just never going to be able to afford a home. Heck yes, you can, right? You absolutely can.
It's about setting your budget and
Yep.
really have a first time home buyer consultation. If you want to do it in a group, invite all your friends. I would love to educate you. I really want you guys to build wealth. My goal is to help you to grow in this community. So, would you come to my Saturday event that I have? And I would love to tell you how to save, how to do certain things to where when you're ready to purchase, you'll be in a great position.
Yeah. Now, have you ever wondered why so many listings don't have floor plans? That may need to
Hmm.
be changing here soon. So, um, first of all, there's really no excuse why you don't have floor plans on your listings. All right.
Don't say the seller did not provide it. Just so
Uh-uh.
you know, a lot of photographers right now offer floor plan as part of the photo
And
package.
Cubicasi's free.
Yes.
Now, I bring this up because when you look at what do buyers want from, like when they're looking at it, they want property, they want photos, and they want floor plans. Cubicasi's free. New Mexico Real Estate Commission just ordered, or just in, like there. I'm sorry, not the commission. The MLS there says that all listings now have to have a floor plan because it's got so much buyer demand for it. And even though we don't have that requirement for our MLSs here, look, this is a big deal.
Hmm.
Don't miss out on the fact that when you're listing property, don't miss on putting the floor plan in. It doesn't cost you anything. It doesn't take very long, and it's a really important piece. It's another one of those things that
Well,
you do to kind of promote and sell your property faster.
believe it or not, I have had buyers that go in the house with a tape measure because they want to make sure the furniture fit and they want to make sure that the room is big enough or just right for their needs.
So everyone was all wound up because supposedly on January 27th, the whole TCPA, and that's all the things about the do not call registry and all that kind of stuff. It was set to go into effect on the 27th of January. And then all of a sudden they went and put the brakes on it. Okay. Now, first, we want to talk a little bit about this because we kind of feel a couple of things about this. First of all, the reason why why this is an important issue is like just in Georgia over the last year, there was 65,000 complaints about telemarketers and texters and that kind of stuff. And I know it's been an election
Especially
year.
during election year.
I know, but honestly, it's not that much worse, right? I mean, like this is something that's really kind of been coming out, and so the FCC, they came out and they said, you know what, we're going to hold off, and I get it. They've got all sorts of legal challenges and they got all sorts of compliance headaches going with that. But that being said, we do want to talk about most of the things that are in here are gonna come. It's gonna come to fruition. And you need to be prepared
It's a matter of
for
time.
what's going on. So one of the big things that came out, or that was part of this new rule, was what's called the one-to-one consent rule. Basically, you had to have a permission, and if you didn't have permission, the thing was is that you could not use restricted technology. Right? You had to use, you know, like you couldn't use auto dialers, you couldn't use voice to text, all these different kind of things. And so you, in those, if you were going to use those type of restricted contacts, you had to have one-to-one consent on there.
Mm-hmm.
You also had to make sure that if someone wanted to opt out, it was very easy for them to opt out. I think that makes perfect
complete
sense. Um, when buying leads, if you buy leads, you have to be very careful because, like, the new rules, well, what was supposed to be the new rules was you couldn't sell a lead to more than one person.
Correct.
I kind of found that to be kind of a good thing on there, which was going to be a big impact on like Zillow and Realtor.com and that kind of stuff. So
because they all sell the same person with different
multiple people, right? So, and then there was all these rules on automated, pre-recorded messages. And believe me, after the election, we're all sick of robocalls. Absolutely.
And then robotext.
Yeah. And then the other thing was what about do not call and calling folks that are on the do not call list, right? And so just in moving forward here, because even though these things are on hold right now, and we're not trying to scare anyone, but we do want to say, look, you still need to be concerned about this whole one-to-one consent, what goes on. And so can you, we're having people who are like, oh, well, I can't call my leads anymore. That's not what this means,
No.
Right? And so, yes, you can still call your leads as long as you're not using what's regulated technology. Regulated technology is, auto dialers and redialers and voice to text and all that kind of stuff, right? If you're not using that, then this doesn't apply necessarily, right? And so you can call a lead from your cell phone, from your office phone. You can text the lead from your cell phone, from your office phone. You can call the lead from your CRM and your database, right? You can have automatic text messages for people who register and sign up on your website, so long as they give you that permission,
Correct.
Right? And so, like this doesn't mean that things have changed. As a matter of fact, it just shows that we need to be even more personal about it moving forward. So we do have a couple of recommendations, right? And so the first thing is if you are going to use any kind of regulated technology, you have to have one-on-one consent.
Correct.
Otherwise, don't use regulated technology. I think it's probably the easiest thing that comes in there.
And honestly, our business, your CRM, that when you do utilize your CRM, most likely they came to your site and they have given consent.
Yeah.
So you're safe there, and just make sure that you have an opt-out system in your CRM to where if they decide they don't want to do this anymore, you allow them to opt out.
You got to make sure that you're also maintaining your own DNC list, do not call list in there, and that you're checking your list against the DNC registry, especially if you're calling cold leads, if you're calling folks that you don't know, that kind of stuff. When doing that, consent can't be transferred from one company to another, meaning Zillow can't get consent and give that to you. Zillow has to get consent, and then you have to go get consent as well, right?
That's kind of interesting, though.
It is, right? But the whole idea here is that, like, anytime you're reaching out, you just have to identify yourself about what the purpose of the call and say, is it okay if I talk to you? That's what it really does take for that. Now, we do want to kind of throw out there 4 maximum 1 agents, right? I know that we have a lot of folks who are on different platforms.
Bold Trail.
Right. So we use KV Core/Bold Trail. There's a lot of other databases that do the same thing. So we're not saying this is anything exclusive, but just to kind of throw out there, Bold Trail /KV Core does cross-check anyone in your database against the DNC, the do not call list. If one of your contacts comes up, when you see their phone number, it'll have this little red DNC listed next to it kind of thing. And so anytime you're importing contacts or leads or doing all that kind of stuff, it will show you who are those in there. Please, if you don't have permission to call someone on the do not call list,
Please
don't
call
call
them.
them, right? That's the bottom line here. Those folks want to be left alone. You don't have permission. Now, if someone on the do not call list contacts you, you can absolutely contact them,
Or
right?
if that do not call list happen to be your sister-in-law, and
Yeah,
that's for the general
yeah,
public, not for you, then obviously ask for
yeah.
permission and what have you.
So follow along, get more tips, tricks, real estate ideas, all that kind of stuff. We have lots of other videos you can kind of check out. You can also see any of our continuing education classes. Please check us out at mx1training.com. Have a great day.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Bye.